we go about, under BSN Sports, we see A, and then some numbers, short sleeve hoodies, and I think it's, if I'm reading it, $485.
Yes.
So that would have come out of fundraising, not out of an athletic budget, not out of general fund, correct?
Correct. And those are typically the single year type stuff with the kid's names on it, or if the child is, the student's going to keep it. Those
Okay.
are paid out of the activity funds. The long-term jerseys, the long-term equipment, like catching equipment for the baseball or the softball
Right,
team.
right.
That would be paid out of the general fund, which you can see any of the BSN stuff. It'll be G11-293. The 293 is the athletic grouping, as you would say.
Okay. Okay. Are there any further questions? This gets really crazy when you're trying to learn what all that stuff is. Are there any further questions regarding that?
I could offer to walk you guys through the school
That would
school
be-
accounting fund if you really.
That would be a good workshop.
God, I was joking.
Maybe not.
We can set that up for a month that I'm not available in the workshop.
Just being sarcastic.
And Mr. Belton can have an hour or two to walk you through
No,
whatever you'd
no,
like.
That's okay. Maybe no. Mrs. Martin, did you have a question?
I would say, we did have a conversation about that, Mrs. President.
About understanding the budget, maybe. Maybe we need to make a more high level, not as high a level as we get with the budget, maybe kind of a mid-level understanding of what G stands for and X and J and all of that.
I'll put it on the list.
Yeah. Just for future references. Okay, so the motion is to accept or to approve those checks, and this also requires a roll call vote. Mr. Bailey? Mrs. Johnson? Mrs. Martin?
Yes.
I'm writing here, sorry. Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Osowski? Chair votes yes. Okay. Thank you. All right. I don't know what page I'm on. Okay. Oh, I wrote all around it. Call to the audience, public participation regarding non-agenda items. I do have one. Patricia Clegg, come on down. We promise to be nice to you. We're going to have you just come down. We'll have you state your name for the record and what you wish to address. And then typically we give about 3 minutes. Okay.
My name is Patricia Clegg. I live here in Redford Township. I've lived here about 16 years. And I wanted to address special needs students. I'm going to read because I get emotional with this. Okay?
Absolutely.
My son was a class of 2017 graduate, and my granddaughter was a class of 2020 graduate, so I'm very familiar with RU. I'm the grandmother of Milton Miller, a 9th grade special needs student. My grandson, Milton Miller, was attending Charles H. Wright Academy in Detroit. After his 8th grade graduation, he was supposed to attend a high school in Detroit that was not a good fit. I was determined to have him attend a school that I was not only comfortable with, but confident in. I know Carriana Robinson grew tired of my endless phone calls and emails regarding the school of choice enrollment for RU. When I was told RU's 9th grade was approved for school of choice, I probably was the first one to apply, and my grandson, Milton Miller, was accepted. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Nothing like the most inopportune moment, right?
And my grandson, Milton Miller, was accepted. I was so happy because of the history I had with RU until I wasn't. Not even a quarter of the way through the first semester, and my grandson is slipping between the cracks. He was immediately enrolled into GE classes knowing he was a special needs student. When it comes to educating students, it's not all black and white. The special needs students are in a gray area, and students that are in the gray area need to be supported. My autistic grandson struggles with what they call the W questions. And now I'm finding myself struggling with the W questions like, why was the smaller class size for special needs students eliminated so they can be on track for a diploma and not a certificate? What happened to sensitivity training for the students pertaining to a student that is different? And why are there only 2 co-taught classes when the teacher cannot give them the attention they require to understand as well as complete the assignments due to their disability? They are being set up to fail. And what happened to the mentoring program that was in place, like the one my granddaughter participated in when she attended RU? And why would you expect a special needs student to get a proper education in a general education setting when they are like the elephant in the room? And my last W question is, what if it were your child falling through the cracks? And before you can answer any of my concerns, I want to share that my grandson also gets bullied. Smaller classes for like-minded or special needs students would avoid this. Being bullied could possibly be the reason my grandson is scoring low in some classes. His bully was suspended, but upon his return, the bullying got worse. My grandson had 4 classes with the student that was bullying him. Even a teacher told me she moved that student's desk away from my grandson's desk and that the student moved it back. This student was eventually expelled for slapping my grandson after calling him derogatory names. This assault happened in his first hour class. But it wasn't until 4th hour that he informed them that he had been slapped and of the name calling because he was afraid. It's not easy to drop your child off at school every morning knowing they feel afraid and are being picked on by students that are insensitive to having a special needs student in the class. Maybe sensitivity training could have helped him. During conference, I had a couple of his teachers tell me they cannot give him the attention he requires, and another said he is also in his rowdiest class. I'm told Milton is still picked on and sits alone at lunch. When someone tries to engage him, he seems unsure. Maybe it was from being told to shut up, or when in one of the classes they were put in small study groups, and when he was asked a question and his answer was different, he was made fun of, followed by loud clapping in his ears, being hit in the back of the head with balled up pieces of paper, and not being allowed to sit in his own seat because the student had his foot in the chair. A smaller class of like-minded students would have saved him from this humiliation. Again, Milton Charles Miller is my grandson's name. My confidence in RU has been shaken, but not enough for me to stop advocating for him. You not only have the authority, but you owe it to my grandson and all the special needs students that have been placed in this district's education system a safe and adequate education. Milton is 6'4", 173 pounds, and will not defend himself or say anything back when being bullied. He is kind, very well-spoken, soft and polite, very respectful. We refer to him as a gentle giant. How do you expect a special needs student to get a proper education in a general education setting with a class full of desensitized students when there is a student in the room that is obviously different? What I'm requesting is the sensitivity training be restored, the mentoring program be restored, and smaller classes for special needs students so they are given every possible chance to receive a certified diploma and not a certificate. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Clegg, thank you for sharing your heart. I encourage you to please partner with Mr. Witt, Mrs. Dillard, our special ed teacher, and our wonderful junior high principal to get what you need for your grandson, because I know that everyone in this room cares about every kid. Okay.
Could you please leave, if it's okay, could you leave me the copy of that?
For sure.
Thank you very much.
Not at all.
That's great.
And I appreciate you coming out tonight.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to me.
Thank you.
And I will make sure, I mean, somebody's going to follow up with you momentarily,
saw
but
her
I will
write-
make
she was
sure,
writing notes.
I'll make sure the matter gets followed up on.
She was writing
Thank you.
notes. I saw her writing notes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm sorry that that happened.
Yeah, that's, all right. I do not believe there are any other cities, and thank you for hanging out for a long meeting. We appreciate that. All right, moving on, superintendent's remarks. Mr. Witt.
So I just wanted to follow up on a matter that was brought, I believe, to the board's attention. I know there were at least 2 board members who received a communication from a prior student. I imagine that that same student might have sent the email to at least everybody on the board. Potentially, they could find their email address for. But I know Mr. Bailey at least received this, and Ms. Martin received this email.
I received it, but I will say I had to look in my, it wasn't in my main, focused emails box. I had to look in my junk mailbox for it.
So understanding that multiple people received it, including the board secretary, and I appreciate Ms. Martin for bringing it to my attention when she received it, so I could do some additional follow-up and review along with other members of our administrative team. And essentially, the email made some claims relative to a student expulsion and then ultimately request another chance, which actually I believe was the subject line of the email. I just wanted to give a general overview of the situation, and then I'll open it up to questions to the extent board members have, although there is no action item being asked of this. I did want to update the board since it was brought up. The bottom line is there was an incident where the student made a serious threat of violence towards others and did so in a very serious manner, threatened gun violence against students in a particular program within our school. When that matter came to our attention, it was late in the evening on a night before another day of school. The circumstances didn't allow us to investigate the nature of the threat to determine its potential level of being followed through upon. So we actually ended up canceling school in that program the following day. So the student's threat did have a significant impact on the school population within that particular program. What's not accurate in that email is the student in the email claims they were expelled from the district. The student was not expelled from the district. So there was serious disciplinary action given to the student. They were subject to a long-term suspension, but in addition to the discipline under the school, there was consideration for action by law enforcement and/or the prosecutor's office. That, to my knowledge, didn't materialize, and to be honest with you, I haven't followed up to determine the veracity of what did or didn't happen from the Wayne County prosecutor standpoint in the matter. But I do know the student was never expelled by the district. Following a long-term suspension, the student was restored and enrolled within our virtual learning program. The student, in all estimations, did nothing to take advantage of our virtual learning program. To the extent that despite what was indicated in the email, it was stated that the student is a third-year junior or a junior and in their third year with the district. They were asking for another chance so they could potentially complete, now the student is 19, her senior year of school. The bottom line is a review of this matter has revealed that the student only has successfully completed 4 credits of the 22 credits needed for graduation.
Okay.
So I will say this, unfortunately, there have been other instances, and I actually our former high school principal, Mrs. Nachman, and I were talking about this previously, and Mr. Taylor and I also discussed the same matter as it was being reviewed. And there are instances where some parents, unfortunately, despite our efforts to inform them otherwise, believe that simply because you show up to school 3 years in a row at the high school level, it makes you a junior. And that's not the case. There are graduation requirements both that the state requires and then even that this board has adopted. And the bottom line is, this student has only successfully completed 4 credits as of now. Towards their 22 they need just as in order to reach the graduate requirements by the state, which she could do potentially through re-enrollment in our virtual program. And I can tell you that as a result of reviewing this matter, despite the inaccuracies that are in the communication that was sent to the board, that I did, in fact, offer the student an opportunity to re-enroll in the virtual program. But in order to do that, the student was going to have to take some steps for enrollment. Our enrollment person for the district has contacted the student. I don't know right now. I know they communicated directly with the student. I don't know whether the student has yet taken the steps needed to re-enroll, to reestablish their district residency in the district. And then I've been assured by Mr. Taylor, who's obviously right here with us, that he would take the steps immediately upon provision of that proof of residency as a district student to make sure the student was re-enrolled in the virtual program. But ultimately, it will be up to this student, who would have a lot of work ahead of her, to take advantage of that program.
It's a lot of credits to make up.
Yeah, they have to do some more.
So, in a nutshell, that is what I've been able to learn through the review of what the student indicated in the email that's at least some board members received. And I just wanted to let the board know that I did follow up on that. In fact, the student has been afforded another chance, and ultimately, we would support her should she re-enroll in the virtual program. But like any other student that has to take the steps needed to successfully complete those requirements, that would be an expectation for this individual. And to be honest with you, I don't even know at this point in time if she or her mother or anybody else realizes how much work she may have ahead of her. But of course, we want to support her in that. And despite her past actions, I believe people do deserve additional chances. But I wanted to be clear, she was never expelled. She was given a chance once in our virtual program and basically did nothing within that virtual program to earn credits, despite the follow-up of the people who are involved in that virtual program.
Thank you, Mr. Witt.
So my question would be, since the virtual platform has been given to her previously, with this second chance, will there be more thorough or like definitive expectations of how things should be completed? And if they're not completed, do we have a next step put in place as far as like?
Well, my understanding is those expectations are set forth with all the students when they enroll in the virtual program. And I have no reason to believe that that wasn't the case when this student was enrolled in the virtual program the first time.
Okay, so to that, and I don't know. So my assumption is that she has a lot more credits to earn, unlike maybe other students who may also be in that virtual program. So is it just like one, like the rules are just for everybody, or is specific to each student based on the credits that need to be earned.
No,
if
the
that makes
virtual
sense.
program is tailored to what the students need to complete the
Okay.
I
program.
think the problem would be that can she complete all those credits before she ages out?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, Joe.
And I guess
believe
that's part of,
20.
Yeah, I believe 20. And I think that's probably up to her, right? You know, that's a lot.
It is
Depending on where
possible.
she is-
It
where
is
she in
possible.
her 19th
And that's,
year,
when I had the discussion with Mr. Taylor and I found out it is possible,
It's a lot of work.
but it requires a lot of work. I said I was okay providing her another chance in the virtual program, which at this point in time in that email is what she was requesting was placement in the virtual program.
okay. I was just making sure that she understood the length of.
That would, those expectations would be made clear to her.
I think she does because she did talk about being 19 and wanting to, you know, to get it to finish, right, in the email. So I think she understands that as much as she chooses to understand that she can't just do this for 3 or 4 more years, right? I think she realizes that she's got to do it now or it's done, no diploma, right?
Thank you.
To the chair, what's holding her back? Is it just the, where she lives, her residency?
I think she's holding herself back.
The virtual program is held remotely, so they're doing the work from home, but they have the option to come in. My understanding with this student is that she went, I believe it was 3 months with the teacher communicating. They have to have daily communication with their teacher, and the teacher was getting 0 response from her for 3 full months, regardless of the method of trying to get in touch with both her and her parent. So it wouldn't be a transportation issue because they're equipped with a computer and all the work they need to do from home, and also have the opportunity to come here if they would like, but she did not take advantage of that opportunity.
And who knows, maybe turning 19 and going, holy crap, if I don't get this together, I'm not going to have my high school diploma, will change her attitude, right? Maybe it will change her commitment to it, but only she can speak to that, right? And we can only provide her the opportunity, which sounds like we are doing, and she has to decide to take it.
And I can assure you that we will take the steps to make sure that the expectations remaining are made clear to her, but also that the supports she may need are provided for the student. Again, ultimately, though, she'll need to take advantage of it.
Okay.
Well, I believe Mrs. Martin and then Mr. Bailey, okay?
And so this kind of like goes back because, you know, I yielded because I knew this was coming up. And so it's like as we were having the emails back and forth, like just trying to get an understanding. And, you know, it was questioned, I questioned, put it like that, about the Open Meetings Act. And I guess it was more so, to my understanding, the way it was done. Because they say that best practice is to do blind copies and then ask not to do please do not reply all when you do. And that's when I meant to say that that's how I was coming at. And it was like, let's say for instance, because we had some discussion that was going, and like let's say for instance, if more people chimed in, and that's what I was concerned about.
Okay, yeah, that's valid. I think we're okay, and like, I think I addressed this, because we weren't asking board members to make a decision. We were sharing information mostly about, and Brad would probably kick me in the head for saying this. We were sharing information about, because the question was raised, what's the process, right? Brad Banasic would probably say we shouldn't have done that, and I would trust him, right, because he's the open meetings expert. I think we were okay as far as technically not violating Open Meetings Act, but it is important to point out, and I will reiterate what you said, that we should not be having a lot of that back and forth, reply alls, send alls because we could potentially inadvertently trip over that Open Meetings Act law, right, and rule. And so I would encourage board members who have questions to first send them to Mr. Witt, right? I mean, that's right. And I don't care. I mean, CC me if you feel like you need to. He's the best person to answer a lot of those questions, right? That's what we pay him for, right? And yeah, that's right, absolutely. So I do agree that we need to be careful with the reply alls, and a lot of discussion, because we could just accidentally mess ourselves up, right? So, that's, yeah. All right, moving on. Board of Education communication and discussion. As is my practice, I will go down the table. I will also remind the board that this is not the time to revisit topics that have already been voted on. I will speak to a couple of things that I personally know about. And two of them they are actually both, well, several things. Okay. There are two marching band / majorette, color guard, choir fundraisers coming up. There is one, and I can send this to Jackie and she can send it out, that is support my fundraiser. You can buy popcorn, yummy goody things like that. They would like to, raise some money for majorette uniforms, color guard uniforms. We did just give them new marching band uniforms. So the rest of the group would like to be meeting, looking. And then I know there is another marching band fundraiser, the 12th, which I believe is Wednesday, at Buffalo Wild Wings on 6 Mile. That I can send that to Jackie too, because I think you have to have the little thing that says you're there supporting them. So keep that in mind. In your board email, go out, support our marching band. In your email, you should have an email from Mike Latvis at Wayne Risa, inviting you to the February 20th Wayne County Association of School Board meeting. It is not your traditional meeting that we do. We actually, as a board, felt that it would be really nice to just kind of have a networking, meet and greet, informal kind of meeting. There will be a legislative update from Mike, but there's a lot of new board members out there and that were just recently elected, and we felt as an executive board that we wanted something something where they could just start to know other people in the county. So he has asked for an RSVP so we could plan for food, and I think that is all I have. Mr. Osowski.
All I've got is, anyone in the board interested? We have playoffs coming up for the boys and girls. It's districts
For the,
for the boys and girls. I don't know if it's our
Okay.
U teams, but we'll host them for
are
the
we
first-
hosting?
for 3 games. So
Do we have dates?
The 24th or 26th.
end of February and beginning of March.
The first game for the boys will be the 24th or 26th of February. It's not known yet because there's a chance they could actually receive a bye from the first round of games, because there are 6 teams within the boys district. The girls, I believe, will start the following week, will be their district opener.
But it's a good time to come out and see the high school.
Yep.
And this was going to ask, we usually, like, on our calendar updates, we usually would get, like, some dates of, like, upcoming games or whatever.
Yeah,
And
we-
I did not see that, and that was kind of, like, something I was wondering about. I was like, hey, when is our next games? And so thank you.
7 o'clock.
Okay, Friday, 7.
Mrs. Johnson.
Nope.
Mrs. Martin.
Just to piggyback off of our thing that we passed today as it relates to IDEA, I encourage parents to also call legislators to support full funding for IDEA.
Mrs. Miller. Ms. Miller. And I'm coming back to me because I forgot one. I told you several months ago, and more than once, and I will reiterate that we have officially been requested by Michigan Association of School Boards to host the April Awards Dinner. That date will be April 24th, I believe. It's a Thursday night. It will be across the street in our beautiful new multipurpose room. I am going to need some help organizing that, so I will be probably looking to Mike, since that's his building, and Mrs. Warren, because she's amazing, and anybody else who wants to help me, because I know nothing. I am waiting to hear from MASB as to what they need from us, but it is a wonderful opportunity for us to showcase what we've done, to showcase some of our students, to talk about some of our programs. It will be a catered dinner. We'll have to determine ticket price. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of work to be done in a very short time frame. All right, Mr. Bailey.
Mr. Witt, for this lady, this student, is there any other alternative than a virtual program for her?
I did not explore any other program than the virtual program because the student requested placement within the virtual program. And essentially, there is no in-person program that, given the history of what transpired, where I would be comfortable returning the student within an in-person setting within our district.
So the reason I ask is some people are comfortable working without restrictions, like in a virtual setting, and other people, like her, sounds like they can't function in that.
As was stated already, the student's request was for placement in the virtual program, and I've made it clear to other individuals, including this particular student when they were first enrolled in the program, and her parent, that our virtual program offered opportunities for in-person support, and that, as far as I was concerned, our teachers within the program are on site each day, and while it's not typical for students to come here each and every day for that support, that opportunity was certainly available to her. So that was made clear the first time, and should she re-enroll in the virtual program, we will make sure that she understands the opportunities that exist within the program for in-person support, even if the learning continues on a virtual platform.
So the next thing is, I would like to request that we get clarification from the board attorney as to whether board members can observe district practices.
Mr. Bailey, so I can only speak to one of my experiences. I did have an opportunity, which hopefully I will be reaching out to Mr. Witt soon, as relates to possibly doing a school visit. You can like do a school visit.
But not
Not sit in the classroom, but overall, you know what I'm saying, just visit, walk the hallways, whatever, to get a feel of the culture, the community of that of the building.
I'm not interviewing.
But like you might possibly be able to talk to the principals, or or just possibly if you want to say, hey, look, open it up to like you can have an hour where you can say, hey, I'm here. If teachers want to come down, possibly talk to me, I'm here and I want to listen. These are some of the things, you know what I'm saying, that you can do if you choose to.
But keep in mind that there's a process for that.
Oh, yeah. I did go through the superintendent.
Right. And that it needs to go through the superintendent and the building administrators,
Yes.
out of respect to not just show up in their buildings, which we've talked about multiple times, and board governance would talk about, which I know we're going to do some work on in March. All right, moving on. Future meeting dates: Tuesday, February 25th, 2025, board workshop, 5:30, right here in the district meeting room. Monday, March 10th, 2025, regular meeting, 5:30, again here in the district meeting room. And Tuesday, March 25th, board workshop, 5:30, here in the district meeting room. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Osowski, seconded by a whole bunch of people. Mrs. Martin.
Martin got it.
This meeting is adjourned.